And it is my great pleasure to introduce my wonderful colleagues from the Division of Campus Life. Today we have with us Andrew Heald, who is the Director of Global Brown Center for International Students. And we also have Dr. Ruby Chang, who's the Assistant Director of the Global Brown Center for International Students. I think Andrew's going to kick it off. So Andrew, the floor is yours.
Absolutely. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're logging in from, joining us today. My name is Andrew Heald. As Mikhail said, I'm the director of the Global Brown Center for International Students, and I am so excited to be hopefully one of the first people to welcome you into the Brown University community. So with that, I'm going to share my screen and we're going to get started. So, as we said in our introduction, we are going to be discussing how we are going to support the international students' global journey here at Brown, and a welcome from the Global Brown Center. As I said, my name is Andrew. You'll hear from Ruby in just a moment, but we did want to name that we have three folks in the Global Brown Center who support your students both in international orientation, which you'll learn a little bit more about, and throughout their time at Brown. And that is our colleague, Serena Robinson, who is not with us this morning. Our agenda for today is going to begin by kicking off talking about what everyone is probably very curious about, international orientation and the International Mentoring Program. I'm going to turn it over to my colleague to talk about that in just a moment. After that, we'll talk about where the International Mentoring Program and international orientation are housed here at Brown, i.e. a little bit more about the Global Brown Center for International Students, and we'll close out with some important information, dates, links to important information for you to consider as you are planning you and your students' journey to Brown this fall. So Ruby, I'm going to kick it over to you.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, Andrew. Hello, everyone. 你好. My name is Ruby Cheng. I am the Assistant Director at the Global Brown Center. I'm currently actually in China visiting my family for a week and very excited to welcome you all from different part of the world. And I will be introducing a little bit about our IMP program, International Mentoring Program. You may have already heard from your students mentioning IMP or summer contacts. And I want to address the importance and the powerful impact that IMP program have really been provided for our, especially the first year transition for our new international community. Last year in 2024, we actually just celebrated our 25th anniversary for our IMP program. It's such a powerful program where we really create a sense of belonging for new students, for them to be connected with our current very experienced students, to help them to make smoother transition, whether they're academic transition, cultural transition, or even professional transition. They have someone already on campus waiting for them throughout the summer before they come to our campus. Also, when they arrive, they will be warmly welcomed by all of our team. Currently, we have four student coordinators for IMP program. Two of them are senior coordinators, two of them are junior coordinators, along with 25 IMP coordinators. Each IMP mentors, each mentors will be working with around 10 new students. So your students may be working with one of our summer contact during the summer. They should have already received some information about pre-arrival from their summer contact, which I will share a little bit more later on. It's such a powerful student-driven program where really students are dedicated and passionate of creating a sense of belonging for all the new international student community. Next slides, please. At the same time, I want to share with you guys, our office provided also additional pre-departure orientation for our new students. It will happen in the next, I will see if my math is mathing, 23 minutes at 9 p.m. Eastern Time today, just less than half hour. Your students should have received an invitation to attend the important cargo, which is a connection for them to chat with current IMP student mentors and coordinators to make friends among themselves even before they arrive on our campus. So if your students are awake and then they may have not heard of this webinar or may not told you about the webinar here, I'm trying to see if I can provide a link so that you can invite your students to attend the webinar as well, so they can make some friends before they arrive. I will attach the link in a few minutes. Next, please. So I shared importance of the IMP, but why is it important? Here is the framework that really directs all our programming here at Global Brown Center. We really see our international student community not only just someone, come to study with us, but someone really contributing to the diverse culture, diverse community to Brown campus. And we use a really comprehensive ideology to help students understand their power and their assets that they are bringing to our campus. We help students to understand that they not only bring linguistic assets, they bring social background assets, culture assets, so that we can celebrate their diversity on our campus, along with our domestic students as well. And we do a lot of programming for creating sense of belonging for them, workshops, and then we take them to off-campus trips throughout the year. So definitely encourage your students to be part of the IMP program and also to stay engaged with us, not only at the beginning of the orientation, but throughout the year. All right, so here you'll be able to see some data supporting the importance of our IMP and international orientation program. If your student is still asking you, should I attend international orientation? The answer is yes. Well, if the students are on visas, they're required to attend international orientation. But if they're not on a visa, but they identify with a different culture, we highly encourage them to attend international orientation, because year by year is proof for the students that they really help students feel like sense of welcome, sense of belonging on campus, especially within the first few days when they need help, the resources the most. So please encourage your students to attend our orientation. Next, please. Summer contact. Please ask your students if they have received anything from a summer contact, which is one of the mentor from our IMP program. They provide some their information through email, help them to understand what they need to do right now, where to fill out the health forms, where are some of the resources, and where are the pre-departure webinars. And they will be staying in contact with your students throughout the summer, answering any questions your students may have regarding to arriving to the Brown campus. And they will be also sharing some really interesting resources like packing list for international students. It is a little bit different than the domestic packing list they have received from Brown University. So definitely encourage them to stay connected with their summer contacts. If they do not have a summer contact already, please feel free to email us at gbc@brown.edu, and so we can make sure that they are assigned for a summer contact. So that's all the information I have today. I do have to run to the other webinar I just mentioned, but before I go, I want to share the link so you can encourage your students to attend. That webinar is only for students to connect with their peer mentors. So I will be back in a few minutes.
Thank you so much, Ruby, for everything that you're doing to support our new incoming students. And with that, we have a little bit more information about IMP, the International Mentoring Program, a little bit of information about how we build our programming to support your students. And now I want to share a little bit more about how we continue to do that beyond orientation. As Ruby shared, the International Mentoring Program and our International Orientation Program here at Brown are over 25 years old. This year, they are turning 26. And so they have a long history of being student-led and student-supported. The Global Brown Center for International Students, which currently houses that program, is a little younger, actually. And so I want to talk a little bit about our history, our mission, a little bit about the programs and space that we offer for your students beyond international orientation, and how we provide advocacy and support for your students. The hope being that you leave this webinar feeling a little bit more secure in starting this new journey with your students. So as I said, the Global Brown Center for International Students is a little younger. We're about 8 years old. We started in 2017 as a response to the needs of international students at Brown. Students said, we need a space that feels like home. We need a space that has programming for us. And the university responded by establishing the center. And our mission, ever since that establishment, has been to create and cultivate a home away from home for our international student community. What does that mean exactly? Creating a home away from home. We are not trying to replace any experiences of home that they're bringing with them. We are co-creating a new experience of feeling like they belong here at Brown. And so that means a lot of different things. How do we do that? We do that through our programs and through the space we offer for our students. In the background, my virtual background, as I am working from home this morning, you can see the Global Brown Lounge. This is a space that our center holds that is dedicated for international students 24/7. That means students can access the space at any time with their Brown ID, and it's a space to relax, it's a space to hold events, it's a space to listen to music and watch World Cup games on our very, very large TV. And it is a space where, as it's open 24/7, we really hope that students feel like it is a second home to them. The programs that we offer in that space, obviously, is the year-long IMP program that Ruby talked a little bit about earlier today after orientation. But we also host cultural programs to uplift the experiences that your students are bringing to our campus. We hold community programs to bring our students together, to cultivate that sense of belonging. And we also host a multitude of programs in collaboration with our campus partners around academic support, around professional and pre-career support, with our Office of International Students and Scholar Services for things like tax support or additional information for maintaining your student's legal status in the US. All of these things we do in collaboration in order to support your students' holistic experience as they start their time here in what we hope feels like home to them. Lastly, we are a space for advocacy and support. We are typically a first kind of stop for international students. If they have any question, if they have any concern on campus, they can come to our door and we can either offer that support, or as Mikhail shared earlier, we can find the right place to send them. That's one of the fantastic things about Brown University is how many folks we have to support your students and how collaboratively we all work together. If we don't have an answer, we're going to find the right person who does. And with that, a little bit more about international students at Brown. We have typically about 12 to 14% of our undergraduate students are international students. So your students, when they come to Brown as part of international orientation, will join a cohort of about 300 to 320 new students. So it's a really, really robust community. We have our center space, but we also have, as I said, international student advising, the Office of International Students and Scholar Services. There are many, many offices that support your students' experience here at Brown, and we all work together to do so. There's also student organizations and all kinds of other stuff, but we can talk about that if you have questions. Finally, some important information. I want to make sure we're leaving some time for a lot of robust questions. So finally, these are some important information for you all to know and to consider. If you haven't already talked to your student about registering for orientation, as Ruby had shared earlier, please make sure you do so. The deadline is July 25th. But our international orientation will take place from Saturday, August 23rd to Tuesday, August 26th. And move-in for international students is the Friday before, so Friday, August 22nd. There tends to be a lot of questions around move-in, and so hopefully to preempt some of that, some brief information for you. You can move in anytime on Friday, the 22nd, whether it's in the middle of the night or during the day. We hope that you arrive during our welcome desk, which will take place from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. so we can greet you and give you all your materials. But the students will be able to move in anytime during that day. Late move-in can be accommodated, but if they just need to reach out to us and we can give them further information about that. If you're joining your students for that move-in, we hope to see you. And to that point, if you are joining your students, I'm going to switch over to our website, which is gbc.brown.edu. And on our International Undergraduate Orientation page, scrolling through the bottom, we have some information about what we offer for parents and families during international orientation. We have on that first day of move-in, we have an arrival family dinner. We know that many parents and families do join their students, many don't, and both experiences are totally valid. If you are joining us, then we will be welcoming you with an arrival dinner. On Saturday, August 23rd, our hope is to bring the parents and families who are joining us in person together so that you can meet each other, talk about what it's like to send your student off to their undergraduate career. And then on Monday, we'll have a series of events that are open to parents and families, including a welcome brunch, an information session about the academic experience at Brown, a dedicated parent and family panel where we will meet with Mikhail and some of our other colleagues to talk about the specific questions that you may have developed over the course of the summer. And closing out with our International Parent and Family Reception to celebrate you, to celebrate your contributions to your students, and to kick off your students' journey here at Brown with us. And with that, if you or your student would like to follow us on Instagram and social media, we have some links up there on the screen. But this closes the formal presentation, and I would love to open it up to Q&A. So, Mikhail, I'll turn it back over to you.
Since we were talking about orientation and the International Parent Welcome, we got a question from a few parents about should they attend the International Parent Welcome? Should they attend the regular one that we do? I don't want to say regular, but the general one we do when the other students move in later in the summer. I have my thoughts, but let you have the first word.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that international parents and families do have multiple opportunities to engage. We have our sessions during international orientation, and Mikhail's team runs a fabulous general parent welcome. My advice and guidance is whatever you are able to attend and are interested in attending, we fully support. The international parent and family sessions are very specific to the international student experience. So our hope is that you get a lot of information by participating in those sessions. And Mikhail and our fabulous colleagues will be joining us for some of that work. That being said, if you are here for an extended period of time and would like to join the additional parent sessions, you'll obviously be able to meet more parents and families. You will be able to meet more staff at Brown because it's more of a general focus. So you'll be able to gain some additional insight. I don't think that they're necessarily repetitive. I think that they're complementary. That being said, if you're only able to attend one, then I think you'll still get a lot of really valuable information from either that you are able to attend.
Perfectly said. I do want to add that we live stream and record a lot of the sessions we do in the general sessions. So if you do need to depart or you're not coming to campus, there are opportunities to watch virtually. And there is also a family weekend that happens in October, and it's a lot to travel to campus 2 times in the fall in one semester. So, you can get a number of those same touch points with the campus community at family weekend as well. So there's other opportunities to join us. We did get a question about visas, and I understand that you might have some updates. Andrew, what's the current guidance on visas?
Yeah, absolutely. I know that this is a really a complicated time, and I know that there's a lot of information out there. So we recently did receive guidance, and it is public on the Brown University website on the Office of Global Engagement. And I'm going to read directly from our guidance that has been offered publicly. There has been widely reported news that the Department of State has directed consular services to resume new visa appointments for eligible foreign nationals. So the appointment booking portals for many countries appear to be back online and active. So my guidance to those who are concerned is if you haven't already, please check to see if visa appointments have resumed in your country. And our hope is that as of last week, and that's the most recent information that I have, and that has been shared publicly by Brown University, that they are resumed, and to please check to see if you can make an appointment. That being said, there are still travel bans in effect, and I can't speak today to the impact of those bans depending on your specific situation. And so I would advise you to, I'll put the link in the chat really quickly. Review this website, which is our Office of Global Engagement's website that typically will continue to update as new information arises. So that's what I can share today in regards to the visa appointments.
Great, thank you, Andrew. And if somebody has a specific question about visas, getting appointments or holdups that they're having in their home country, and we have people joining us from every corner of the world, so I love that. But each situation is going to be a little bit different. What would you recommend would be the first stop at Brown to talk about these questions?
Absolutely. So the first stop, there's going to be two folks that you can reach out to. The Office of International Students and Scholar Services would be the person that you want to reach out to, or the office that you want to reach out to as it relates to your immigration documentation. You can also reach out to the International Admissions Team. So if your student has any questions about their visa appointments, any questions about their specific situation, those are the two spaces that I would refer your students to reach out to.
Great, thank you. And I just I'm about to put the link to Office of International Student Services in there, and that also has lots of current information. I think that's a really excellent resource for folks on this call. We had questions, and we always get this about bank accounts and cell phones. Can you talk a little bit about how you assist students with that?
Absolutely. So one of the first things that we do during international orientation is our banking and cell phone fair. So it's on day one of orientation on Saturday, August 23rd. And students will be able to go to various booths that will be representative of local banks and cell phone companies. They'll be able to ask questions, they'll be able to shop around a little bit, see which one they prefer to use. And some of those banks and cell phone services will be able to allow your student to make an account on site. More often than not, they'll be able to schedule an appointment at a later time that they'll be able to go to the branch and actually do the formal paperwork of registering for an account. But the long story short there is we offer a banking and cell phone fair, and our student mentors are going to help your students figure out any questions that they might have in terms of building those accounts.
Okay, thank you. One of the questions we got was, where exactly do students go when they arrive on campus on Friday, August 22nd?
Fantastic question. Fantastic question. So there's going to be two answers depending on what time you arrive. So as I alluded to earlier, we will have a welcome desk on Friday, August 22nd from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. And that welcome desk will be on our main green, which is right by the fonts arch. I'm going to put I realize that I'm saying a lot of words that you probably don't know if you have never been to Brown's campus. So I'm going to see if I can find the actual address, and I'll share that in the chat so that folks can look it up. The spaces that I'm referring to are at that address. We call it the Fonts Arch. It's this beautiful, beautiful arch that is in one of our main campus center spaces. And it leads into the main green, which is this really large, beautiful green space on our campus. We will have our welcome desk in that space on that Friday from 9 to 6. After that time, students can at any point still gain access to their dorm room. And they can do that by going to the Residential Life Key office. And I'm going to put that in the chat as well. Brown University Residential Life Key office. And there will be someone at that office throughout all day and all night who will be able to allow your student to gain access to their dorm and get their keys and their ID.
Great, thank you. And I think if anybody came on any admissions tours, you'll know that Fonts Arch because it's the campus center. So just to add another link in there, I'm going to put the campus center, so you might recognize that. We had a question about if a student's under 18 and they're coming, are they going to be able to fill out an account for a phone or a bank account And connected to that, we had another question about that service that you provide and when exactly is that happening? If you know that now, I don't know if you have the schedule details.
Yeah, absolutely. In terms of someone being under 18 and being able to register for an account, I'll be honest, my knowledge on that is slightly limited, but I do believe that it is possible for your students to be able to still open a bank account and a cell phone. They may need some sort of documentation from you, but whether you're here in person or whether you are still in your home country, you'll be able to coordinate that via email. So I would say don't worry too much about it. They'll hopefully the vendors themselves will be able to help your student and guide them through that process, even if they are under 18. I do want to name that if your child is under 18, one thing that will be important, and you can reach out to us via email, is there's a couple of forms that you may need to sign on their behalf. Such as one of the other things that we do is a shopping trip to a local store for students to be able to get last minute items. There is a permission form that students have to either sign themselves as a waiver, or if they are under 18, have their parents sign for them in order to participate in some of those trips from a liability perspective. So if your child is under 18, please reach out to us and we'll make sure that you gain access to those forms so that you can make the decision about whether or not to have them participate in some of those activities. And they should still be able to register for all of the important accounts that they need to register for. The second question was the time and date of that fair. I do know, and that's going to be on Saturday, August 23rd, from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. And the location will be shared to your students and to you upon arrival to our welcome desk. So that Saturday, there's going to be a large chunk of time where your student will be able to explore the fair and make some choices about their bank accounts and their cell phone plans.
Awesome. Thank you, Andrew. We had a question about a specific date, August 26th.
Yeah.
I know the event that I manage begins on the 27th for the general population. Do you have anything on the 26th happening?
So we don't have anything on the 26th happening specifically for international parents and families. It is the last day of our international student orientation. So your students will be in programming throughout the day, but that programming is very specifically designed for the new students. So parents and families, if you are sticking around and you are here throughout that whole period, you'll have a lot of events with us on Monday and you'll have a break on Tuesday. So you can use that time to explore Providence. Our downtown is like right next to Brown and really walkable and beautiful, or to be able to take a break and relax. That's also really important to be able to do. So that Tuesday will be a break for parents and families if you are remaining in Providence over that week.
Great, thank you. We did get a question about health insurance, and if you have an international number, you need to put in a domestic US phone number. We had a health insurance webinar last week that the recording is live. We also have a special virtual walkthrough session tomorrow. However, I would say to if anyone with that question, you can reach out to Erica Larange, who's our insurance guru. I'll put her contact information in the chat, but I don't know, Andrew, do you know off the top of your head what domestic number to put in?
That is a great question, and I was going to advise the exact same thing.
Yeah.
So definitely reach out to Erica if you have any other questions after reviewing the resources that Mikhail has shared.
Okay, great. So I'll put that in just a minute. And Erica is amazing. And if you need personal attention, she has a calendar where you can set up meetings with her directly. We had some questions about flight bookings for students who are on financial aid. And there's questions about, the timing, if they don't have a visa yet, but they need to get their plane ticket. Andrew, do you have any advice for those folks?
Yeah, I would say reach out to the admissions team, and they work very closely with the International Student Advising team who helps support the travel pilot. I don't want to speak too much to the specifics of those details because it's very specific to the individual student, depending on what level of aid they receive, and what the plan is there. So I would definitely have your student reach out to the folks who have been supporting them in regards to the travel pilot. And hopefully you'll be able to get a good answer to that as visa appointments have resumed.
We had a question about major bank branches near the Brown campus.
Yeah, great question. So there's a couple of major banks in Rhode Island and Providence, and most of them will be present at our banking and cell phone fair. There's some really big names and popular ones like Chase Bank, or Bank of America, or Citizens Bank is another big one here in Rhode Island. There's also smaller banks that are present in Rhode Island, such as Santander, Harbor One Bank. So there's a lot of different banking options, and most of them have some sort of branch in close proximity to Brown. There's a street that is really, really close to us, Thayer Street. And that street has a lot of really great restaurants, a lot of really great shops, and they have two branches of the banks that I mentioned earlier on that street, one from Bank of America and one from Chase. And then there's a Citizens branch right down the street, also equidistant. So there's a lot of options that are really close by.
Great, thank you. And somebody asked if we could share the link for the webinar series for parents and families that I mentioned with student health insurance, and I'm going to put that in the chat. Just so you know, every webinar that we do this summer, we've already done one on residential life, and we've done one on health insurance, student financial services. They are, once the recording takes place, we take a few days to edit it, and then we put it up on the same page where you go to register. So if you go to the drop down and you find the title of the webinar that you want to go check out, you just click on that and there's a drop down and the video will appear. So right now we do have one on residential life and everything about the dorms and living here on campus. And we have one on financial aid and student health insurance. And just so you know, tomorrow we will do that demonstration video for health insurance because it can be a little bit complicated walking through it. And then on Wednesday, we have one that is going to be on dining services. So the dining halls, special diets, anything about meal plans. So that will be on Wednesday. And again, if you can't make it, that's fine. We'll record it and we'll post it so you can watch it at your leisure. Then we take a little bit of a break in the summer and we'll be back mid-July with some more webinars. Let's see what other questions we have here. And Ruby, I saw you came back, so welcome. I'm assuming the student webinar is off and running.
Yeah, the course, we're so excited. We have over 100 students are attending the webinar. So they are doing their own things. I heard they're doing commonalities to share what they have in common in different breakout rooms. So it's going to be very exciting.
Great, thank you. That is exciting. Well, we just got a question about uploading vaccination forms, and I can give you a little information about that. The Health Services Department is onboarding a new health information system. So you should be able to upload those forms in a few days, but they're in the process of finalizing the system. So, we'll send out information to your student when the system is open and it's time for them to upload those forms. But if you're getting an error message and you can't do it right now, that's the reason why. But we're working on getting that onboarded and up and running as soon as possible, and we'll let your students know. I think that brings up an important point, is that a lot of the information right now is going directly to your student. So if you haven't seen the information, the first place might be to check with your student because they are getting a lot. They're getting stuff from Andrew and Ruby's office. They're getting things from general first, new student orientation and a number of different offices. I know Andrew and Ruby, do you have anything to add on that point?
No, I would just reiterate that that your student is getting a lot of information not only from us but from other offices on campus, and so this is a great opportunity to check in with them and make sure that they are reading their emails. Because sometimes students, it's very busy. It's a busy summer. I know that your students are all incredibly amazing and they're probably really busy with a lot of activities. But it's really important for them to read their emails because oftentimes questions that they have are going to be preemptively answered by a lot of folks here at Brown who are engaging in communications over the summer.
Mhm. In addition to that, I know a lot of summer contacts, our mentors were trying to reach out to some of the students through their Brown email, only to find out they bounce back because they haven't activated their Brown email yet. So please make sure that you encourage your students to activate their Brown email so that the most of the important information will be received through that mailbox. And I also heard from new students saying that, oh, we don't like our generation don't really read any emails. That's not just not us. But I think I just make sure that you encourage your students to really read your email and foster the habit to communicate with us through email. So yeah, I think that's very important.
Yes, that's something they're going to have to do. Another great question came in. Besides international orientation, are there other events for international students throughout the year?
Absolutely. There are so many events for international students throughout the year. I will talk a little bit about kind of our core structure. And then Ruby, if there's anything that you want to add, I'll turn it over to you. And so as I shared earlier, the Global Brown Center, we start with international orientation, but we operate throughout the year. And even currently in the summer, we have some students that are staying on campus and we're hosting a variety of programs throughout the summer even. And so those are community programs such as movie night or tea tasting. There's cultural events that we do in collaboration with student organizations, like celebrating key holidays, leading up to even our large international festival that happens every year in April. So throughout the year, there's going to be plenty of opportunities for events that are specifically for international students, but also bringing international students and domestic students together for a variety of activities. Ruby, I don't know if you wanted to add anything or highlight anything else.
I think we do also have themed workshops, especially within the IMP program, as it's the first year transition program. So we do workshops on cultural transitions. We do workshops to learn a little bit about Providence so that they get to explore outside of our campus as well. And we do workshops on how to find a job on campus or career preparations, especially hearing from alumni, hearing from experienced students who have landed multiple internships. And so I think those are really important for dedicated for our international students. So I think definitely encourage your students to stay engaged with their mentors, with their IMP programs throughout the year to follow up with our transitional programming.
Right. Thank you. So looks like we've answered all the questions, which I can't believe that. But as I mentioned before, please feel free to reach out to me at family@brown.edu if you have more. I want to leave today with just some your top tips, final notes, thoughts. And while we're hearing from you, I'm going to put a survey link in the chat box. So this is a survey for everyone to fill out, and it's quick. It's like 3 questions, and this just helps us to improve the information and services that we provide to you. So if you can fill that out, that's great. I'll start with you, Ruby. Your thoughts for as we close out this webinar.
Because I work closely with first year international students from the point they got admitted to the point, they say goodbye along with Andrew and Serena. Especially for the first year, I heard from the students the most is that, Ruby, I feel so overwhelmed. When I heard that, every time I feel concerned. And then when I hear more about their story, they're overwhelmed not because there's lack of resources. They're overwhelmed because there's so many resources and they can't really they are so anxious about trying to partake on different type of opportunities, but there's no way. There's only 24 hours per day. So I would love to share that if your parents definitely encourage your students to try their their best to take all the advantages of what Brown has to offer, whether, it's within the classroom or outside of the classroom, but also encourage them to don't be anxious and take time. They have, 4 years, sometimes can run by fast, but sometimes can be slow, and they have a lot of time. Don't be too anxious about, getting the jobs the minute they got in, like, how do I get jobs? But there's a lot of different opportunities they can partake, and definitely reach out to their mentors throughout the first year and to learn from their wisdom since they just passed the first year experience. So reach out and don't feel too overwhelmed, but be prepared to be overwhelmed.
That is such good advice, Ruby. I don't know if I have anything to top that, but what I will say is that as you are engaging with your students in this transition, one of the things that I love for new parents and families to think about is that this is a transition for you as well. Whether it's your first child that you're sending to university, whether it's the first time that you have a child going to the US for university, whatever the specific circumstances that you and your family are in, this is a transition for you as well. So to honor that, to check in with yourself as well, see how you're feeling, and just know that we're here to support you in that transition too, between webinars like this and between our parent and family engagement opportunities during international orientation. You are becoming part of our community just as much as your students are, and we're really excited to welcome you into this home that we're going to co-create with your students. And just remember all of the learnings and wisdom and cultural assets that you have provided for your students. They're bringing them here, and they're going to help enrich our experience as well. So just know that we look to your students as the experts in their own experience, and you are a huge part of that.
Excellent words of advice from Ruby and Andrew. I want to thank both of them so much for joining us today. And I want to thank everyone who attended from, I think, every continent, is what I noted when we asked for your locations. So please enjoy the rest of your summer. Stay in touch. Reach out if you have questions. We will be in touch if we have more information for you. And we just hope wherever you are in the world today, you have a great rest of your evening, morning, whatever you are. And we look forward to seeing you soon on campus. Take care.